Wow.
They got the 10. We're getting Tennessee, boys.
Okay, so now, by the way, I gotta say, this is mean of the NCAA tournament committee doing this.
This is,
dude,
wow.
That's awesome.
Y'all just heard me say I would have rather play Ole Miss. NCAA tournament committee. You should have lobbed me up for that,
dude.
Murray State's fired up too. The guy's doing pass block sets.
Electric, boys. Electric.
Because I think I'm not going to say I came up with this but I want to say maybe we talked about like how we were like, oh man, because it was on last week when D1 baseball had them matched. I'm like, dude, imagine how that's.
We were doing the like the Cal Patino but on steroids thing.
Yep.
Goodness
gracious. By the way, NCAA did this on accident. Like, oh, what? We had no idea.
10 high for
there. What? Come on.
I think a 10 is a little bit high, if I'm being honest with you. They do have a lot of SEC wins, though, I will say.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. Like, I think it's crazy that. Okay, so now I guess this is Ole Miss. I saw Zach Root, and I was like, oh, wait, we're doing Arkansas stuff. No, it was just Zach Root giving up a hit. It is also funny that I think they on purpose had Arkansas and Tennessee as the last teams to be revealed here. By the way, once this thing gets announced, John, are you prepared for me to do a little switcheroo to my phone?
Whatever you need to do, buddy.
Well, that is going to be what I will need to do.
Okay. So that's fine. Whatever you need to do.
But I'm going to make it through here.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, hey, you got to do what you got to do, man. That's what happens here. Athens Regional. Coming up.
Creepy,
I see a dog.
Georgia, man.
So where's Georgia and Ole Miss would play in a super then.
Yeah.
Wow.
Interesting.
I feel like that would be actually pretty fun. Like, pretty electric if that happened. We're playing the team from the United Kingdom, Binghamton Bearcats. And every time I see that school, I'm like, are they in the United Kingdom? Like, what kind of college name is that?
So who are the options left? It would be
Clemson and Tennessee
or Clemson. Okay.
Would you rather have Tennessee?
That would be funny if we did all this song and dance and then it's just Clemson.
Yeah. Oklahoma State is going up against Georgia. Ooh, that'll be always fascinating. And Duke, the Blue Devils. I'm not saying that that's like the toughest draw, but that's kind of for Georgia. That's a tough little regional there.
Yeah. I mean, if you have to show Mizzou highlights in your NCAA tournament package, it might be overrated. I'm just saying.
While we wait, can either one of y'all do me a favor and email me a link to this so I can get in via my phone?
I got you.
As soon because like my laptop's, I guess what percent are we on here? Laptop is on 11%, so I'll do the switcheroo as close as I can down to the 0.
Andrew, I'm so sorry.
I think I'll be able to get through I'll get through the announcement.
So sorry, Andrew.
So they could send Tennessee to Baton Rouge,
man.
Which they've played in Baton Rouge this year. I mean, I guess they've also played in Fayetteville, so it doesn't really matter.
LSU, that's the worst.
Oh, they sent Little Rock there.
Oh,
so you're not getting Little Rock. Damn it.
That's who I wanted was Little Rock.
I know. Oh wow. Okay.
Trojans.
Go Little Rock. Are they could be that 4?
Man, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
20. I love to see that 24 and 32. So wait a minute. You're telling me that like, and I'm not hating on Little Rock, but like they probably that's probably the worst 4 seed of the whole deal, and you gave them to LSU at the 6 seed.
Dude, they were like the 6 seed in their conference tournament.
They won 5 games in 5 days too. They were 19 and 32 coming into.
Rhode Island got that Ozarks go. They were blurry.
Yeah, they did.
Rough.
This is a weak regional, dude.
Dude, what?
That's paper soft, bro.
That's stupid.
Well, now we're really about to figure out what this is going to look like.
I know. I don't like this.
I don't like it either.
Oh man, we're gonna know in 5 seconds.
I'm already getting texts. My LSU buddies are not happy with getting DBU. They're thrilled. They're not thrilled about it,
dude.
Get over yourself. Jeez.
And now, what regional is this lined up with again? We don't know yet.
Oh my God, it's official.
Are you serious?
All righty. So Clemson's lined up with LSU. Tennessee's lined up with Arkansas.
I can't believe they did it.
This has to be the only time this has happened, where there literally was a series played 2 weeks ago that featured Arkansas and Tennessee.
Yeah. Wow, man. This is insane. Hey, you know what? I can't say it. Vuck the Falls.
Yep.
Vuck the Falls. That's interesting. Yeah, it doesn't roll off the tongue like
no,
like
had to be very, very big on the Oh, Kentucky got in. Wow.
Oh, wow.
Crap.
Interesting.
Clemson. I thought they were out.
Yeah, there were like 7 teams that stole bids, so I started getting a little worried about them.
So Kansas for sure and Creighton for sure. Yeah. And then who cares for the 4, I guess.
Yeah, that is the exact way this is playing out here. By the way, I know some people were asking about Texas A&M. We didn't think they were going to make the tournament. They are not going to make the tournament. I think we now are at the point where it's official they're not making the tournament.
Yeah, they're Kentucky's in. There's no way. Right. Yeah, exactly.
It's so crazy, dude.
The good news is, saves me a lot of time for the super regional primer. I don't have to watch Clemson. I don't have to do a bunch of research. I already did a preview pod for this very series. So if it does end up being Arkansas, Tennessee.
Yeah. So we'll see theirs first. Who's going to beat Tennessee in their own regional and come to Arkansas?
Let's find out who our favorite team for the weekend is.
Yep. They did it. They actually freaking did it, man. That's what's crazy. Let's see. Okay. Tennessee's got Miami of Ohio. What is that? The Fighting Ben Roethlisbergers, I think. what their mascot is. All right, yeah. Okay, go Miami of Ohio. Cincinnati.
They're gonna get a cakewalk here, man.
Dude, Tennessee's gonna score 193 runs in this regional.
Yeah, they are. They'll probably give up 180, but yeah.
Wake Forest. The fighting Chris Lanzilli's, the fighting Matt Hobbs.
All right, Wake Forest is my team.
Yeah, me too. Balls are probably getting through there.
Hey, Chase Burns isn't there anymore, right?
No, he's not. It is the Chase Burns Bowl, though.
Yeah, it is. It is. Golly, dude, they actually freaking did it.
All right, show us what we got, Magic Ball. Also, this is literally the last regional, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's an Arkansas thing now.
I'm going to say that's back-to-back selection shows were the last one. At least we didn't have to book travel for this one.
On what reasoning do you like? Hey, we're going to wait for the 3-seed regional to be dead last. Like, what is that?
It's when you have Arkansas and Tennessee fan bases waiting on.
Here we go.
Yeah. Okay.
Here we go.
Who's the adopted
in the meeting room?
The adopted team in Fayetteville coming up.
Not a lot of energy from the lads, if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah.
Dude, they're still pissed about softball last night. I would be too.
No way.
Dude.
Oh, no, Andrew. You poor bastard.
Come on.
Well, North Dakota State is going to be the 4 seed here against Arkansas. 20-32. They're 12 games under 500. There's Creighton.
Yep.
We know Kansas is going to be next.
Yep. I mean, they wow.
Until we get Andrew back, Creighton won the Big East. The Big East stinks, but they did win 41 games. They did beat Kansas State this season. They beat Nebraska 2 out of 3. They got a dude, Nolan Sailors, who's hitting about 400. He's stolen almost 30 bases, so he's really good at the top of the order. Not a whole lot of pop with those guys. Their arms have some really, really good numbers, but they also haven't faced a lot of great competition. Kansas is pretty good, man. They've got a dude, Bollinger, who is first team All Big 12. They got one really, really good arm. They're talented. There's Andrew. I just gave a full scouting report on Creighton, by the way.
I know. You texted us last night, and you were like, if it's Kansas, Creighton, and I think there was a couple other teams, you were like, I'm ready to roll. And so I was
dude, I was ready for it, brother.
Yeah. I love that. You mentioned you were talking about Kansas there. It's funny. Mm-hmm. So Kansas, their park, I've never been to their park. I don't think it plays small at all. Because I remember when Tavian Josenberger was there, he only hit 1 home run. When Jack Wagner was there, he only hit 1 home run. The fact that they're putting up some offensive numbers this year really concerns me. Because I'm like, I think that that actually is a legit offense. Now, not a swing and miss pitching staff from Kansas, at all.
Like, I mean, I think they have less strikeouts than innings pitched for their staff overall. A lot of their top arms are that kind of way where they're kind of pitch to contact guys, which has to make you feel pretty good if you're Arkansas because you just haven't faced teams like that in a while. And I think it's also fair to wonder, has Kansas faced anybody like Arkansas all year?
Right. Yeah, for sure. Cooper Moore is that arm that they have at the top of the rotation there. It was an all Big 12 guy. I just saw a stat on him that he's given up 3 runs or less in 9 of his 12 starts this year. So that's pretty good. And then he's also a guy who – oh, did we lose him again? Oh, no. That's too bad.
Oh, he's back.
Okay, there we go. He's back. That's good. But yeah, you were talking about the power there with Kansas. Yeah, like the Bollinger guy that was a Big 12 first team. He had 16 home runs. They got another dude, Jackson Haug, who hit 19. Another guy in that lineup, Brady Council, who hit 12. They got 3 guys who have 9. Another guy who has 8. Everybody in that order has 6 or more. So you're right. They got some. They got a little bit of thump there with the bat.
Curtis, you know who that Council is, right? That's
no,
Craig's son.
Is it really his kid?
It is 1,000% Craig's son.
Do we have the same batting stance, or has he got his own thing?
I don't think it's as bad as I don't think it's as high up as Craig Council's, but that is his son for sure.
Dang, man, I like it.
Creighton's the team that a lot of people are like. I've seen a lot of people being like, "Oh, I don't want to see Creighton," and I know it's elitist of us to be like the SEC team that's like, "Oh, they haven't played anybody," but Creighton hadn't played anybody. And honestly, Kansas is that way a little bit. Now, the Big 12 is obviously not some scrub conference or anything. I believe Kansas is 5-7 against quad 1 competition, which isn't a horrible number or anything. Arkansas is 14-10. And so there's just a lot bigger sample size of Arkansas testing themselves against these teams. Now, Kansas has played some good squads, but I think they look a little bit more human when they played the TCUs of the world, when they played some of those top shelf Big 12 teams. I think for Arkansas, when you're facing Kansas and Creighton, you have to take a lot of comfort and solace in the fact that these teams have not seen they're going to be presenting something to you that you've seen a lot of. You're going to be presenting something to them that they have not seen. And I think there's something to be said for that for sure. And I know it's obviously an easy take for, when you're facing Creighton. But I think Hog fans that are a little bit worried about this matchup, the fact that we've seen Arkansas tested against some of these top teams, and we can talk about how they match up with some of those top teams. I think this Arkansas team is equipped to beat average teams thoroughly, and they've made a living off doing that this year.
Yeah, for sure. And then you've got to think there's probably not a big enough gap between Kansas and Creighton to where Kansas could get away with not using their ace against Creighton in that first game. You know what I mean? Like they're going to have to pitch the Cooper Moore kid who was all Big 12, and so Arkansas will get their number 2 on. Like I'm just looking at their starters here. I don't know. Dominic Vogel, who made 15 appearances and 15 starts. He's 7-4 with a 5.34 ERA, and the other kid who made 10 starts for him, Cannon Carr, 5-1 but a 4.42. He might have been a midweek guy. Look, he's got 10 starts and 18 appearances, so he might have been a bullpen arm on the weekend and a midweek starter. So if Arkansas doesn't have to face the Cooper Moore kid, the offense should be able to rake. I would think they're probably going to be fine.
Curtis, can you tell me the name of that reliever? They have one reliever who has like a decent strikeout ratio, and I think he has like 7 saves on the year. They only really have one top-notch reliever. That's another thing is if they're able to use that, if they have to use that guy in game 1, you'd be going into a matchup with Kansas where you could face like their gap between their number 1 and number 2 starters pretty big. Their gap between their number 1 and number 2 relievers pretty big as well. And so definitely some things that we'll have to keep an eye on.
The reliever I think that you're talking about for Kansas is Alex Breckheimer, 5-0 with a 3.8 ERA, 7 saves in 45 innings, 48 strikeouts, and 12 walks there. So,
yeah, and like I think they have another guy that has some saves, but his ERA is like not. I think it's in the high 5s or something like that. And honestly, the weird thing about Kansas is a lot of these teams like Ole Miss. You look at their pitching staff; they pretty much only use 6 or 7 guys on the weekend. The thing that's interesting about Kansas is there's like 12 pitchers on their roster who have thrown 25 innings. Like they've used a lot of these guys a lot. So that maybe makes you a little bit cautious, but they don't really have those put you away power arms that Arkansas has seen a lot of in SEC play. You're not going to face that type of velocity for sure.
Right.
Man, I'll give a credit to D1 baseball. I mean, they got a lot of it right, which that's what they do.
They did well, didn't they?
Yeah, I mean, the only one that
they were
missed
all over
was
this for weeks.
Yeah,
they're better than Joe Lenardi.
Yeah, it's Joey brackets. It's because they had Arkansas's nailed except for Little Rock, which would have made a lot of sense sending Little Rock to Arkansas. But the one thing about it though is that they had Kentucky as one of the first 4 out teams, and UConn is one of the last 4 in. UConn did not get in, Kentucky did. So, but either way, yeah, that's pretty accurate and pretty well set up. So. We're going to find out a lot more about it from, Dave is going to do his pregame stuff, and there's regional press conferences. So we'll find a little bit more on that, and also find out more about the timing of these games. I just looked at the weekend, guys. I know it's right now, but finally looks perfect. I mean, could not be more perfect. You got Friday, 72 degrees and sunny. Saturday, all day, 76 degrees and sunny. Sunday, 80 degrees, sunny. So let's hope it stays that way. Because nothing worse than delays and all that stuff. But yeah, looks like, at least the weather-wise, for you Razorback fans going to be making the trip, it's going to be great, thankfully, because I feel like we haven't had a nice weekend in Fayetteville for years, it seems like. So
I wonder how the fans are going to react to this, because every single week that Arkansas has a home series, on like Tuesday, I start getting texts. Dude, they're not going to play it all this weekend, man. Dude, the rain, I'm telling you, the rain, there's going to be a tornado that takes out the entire stadium. So I don't know. They're not going to be able to play those games. And then obviously every weekend they get all 3 games in. So I don't know how the fans are going to react to this. Can I read y'all a text I just got from my LSU buddies?
Yep.
Yes.
And I quote, Arkansas got kind of hoed, to be honest.
Wow.
I mean, in a way.
I mean, honestly, it's fair. It's good to see that the masses are seeing what has been done to our precious pig.
Yeah. Well, but here's the deal. Maybe it's just because, I look at it this way with Razorback baseball specifically. I don't care about getting it doesn't matter, because the times I felt good, they lost. The times I felt bad, they lost. Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter about the draw. I don't care about what is like, oh man, this is bad. I don't care, because it hadn't mattered before anyways. So who knows? Maybe this is the time it all works out for them. But just that game 2, man, as we all know, game 2 is it. That is it. No matter who you play in that. I know you got to get through game 1 game at a time, all that nonsense. But game 2 is it. You win that, you win the regional, plain and simple, because you've lost the last 2 game 2s in your regional and inevitably lost. So it's the key, it's the kicker. Whatever Dave needs to do, go all in on that game 2. I don't even care. Throw our guy Will McIntyre as the starter in game 1, and then in game 2 have Root, Gackle, just have them all be starters. I don't care. Whatever.
By the way, John, you know who agrees with that take is Ozzy Maverick.
Oh, well, never mind.
But I will say, I don't think that's the craziest thing at all. Starting Will McIntyre. Will McIntyre started, hundreds of games throughout his career. He's pitched in all these moments. Like you definitely don't worry about the moment being too bright for him against the Bison, of North Dakota State or anything like that. He's also pitched big in postseason games. Also, he's been pitching as well as anyone on the roster here lately. So there's a case to be made from there. And I do think that it could set you up to where you save Root, you save Wood, or whoever it is you want to save. Maybe you can save Gackle, but Will McIntyre is the guy that could eat up innings. So where maybe because your goal in that game 1 against the 4 seed is to not have to use, regardless of who Arkansas starts, you don't want to have to use Gabe Gackle, which they did, by the way, last year. They had to use, matter of fact, I think they used Gabe Gackle and Will McIntyre last year. I remember that first SEMO game was all over the place. They ended up winning it like 12-9 or something like that. That set the tone for the entire weekend. So regardless, we can talk about who Arkansas needs to start. I could very well see them starting Root. I'm sure we'll get some indication from Dave, whether it ends up being Wood, whether it ends up being McIntyre. I'm more worried about how Arkansas details their bullpen, because I think you need to have a lot of those guys, because really the formula for this Arkansas team has not been relying on their starters. Whereas last year when we were having this conversation about when do you pitch Hagen Smith, it's a completely different conversation. The formula for this team has been kind of piecing it together with their bullpen. So I just hope they're in a position to do that in that game too, because it's so important. And in terms of just the draw and the difficulty of it, I definitely don't think this regional draw is like one that we're going to tell our grandkids about how tough of a matchup it was. Oh man, I mean, even if Arkansas loses, I think the story would be Arkansas lost. I think that was the story last year. Like, I didn't think Arkansas lost because their regional was such a tough draw. But and then even the super regional draw, are we really going to sit here and piss and moan that Arkansas has to play a team that they literally beat in a series at the exact venue that they're playing the Super Regional at? Are we going to really cry that much about it? And it's a team that, we like playing against. It's a coach that Dave Van Horn likes coaching against. I really think like it's not the most ideal situation, but I really don't think we need to spend too much time complaining and being like, oh man, this is just crazy stuff. I'm with you there, John. Like Arkansas just needs to take care of business. And this regional sets up pretty well to where it should be a low stress, go take care of business, get the job done. Kansas should be kind of happy to be here. Let's just be honest. Kansas has had a great year. This is not a super storied program. We've ended their season in basketball. We've ended their season in football in the Liberty Bowl. Let's go ahead and end their season in baseball.
Yep, because they'll be owners of those folks in Lawrence if that ends up happening. But it is official though. 2 p.m. Friday will be first pitch.
Okay.
So it is official, and we're going to, of course, we're going to be covering it all and just hang out with us post game, following the game, which should be ending around. Hopefully it ends at 3:30 because Arkansas Run rules them, and we could just move on. But either way, we're going to be at Foghorns after the game to come and hang out. But really big shout out to our friends over at Trevero Clothing for being the official sponsor of our postseason and our coverage of Bombastic and for Razorback baseball as well. So